This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast.
Welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast, where we help women remove the overwhelm of living their most holistic life. This is the place to find evidence-based nutrition tactics, healthy lifestyle and wellness tips, abundance mindset, and easily implementable low-tox living strategies so you can rise up to your full potential and protect your family's health. I'm your host, Stacey Heine, certified holistic nutritionist and better living advocate. Now, let's get empowered with some simple swaps that make a big impact for optimal wellness. It is episode 28 of the Urban Pharmacy Podcast, and I am so excited for you to hear from my friend, Dr. Stephanie Peacock. She's a chiropractor and health coach specializing in plant-based nutrition to help people live their most optimal, healthiest life. She is a former competitive swimmer who has won an NCAA Championship, 2 U.S. Open gold medals, and 5 international medals. She concluded her career as the 2016 U.S. Olympic alternate in the 800-meter freestyle. Stephanie was on the U.S. national team for 5 years, traveling all over the world, competing for Team USA. Her experiences as a top-performing athlete have shaped her professional career into wanting to help current athletes perform at their best through proper plant-based nutrition. She did her residency at TrueNorth Health Center, specifically learning how to prevent and reverse lifestyle diseases with nutrition, movement, and lifestyle modifications. While at TrueNorth Health Center, she supervised water fasting patients and worked one-on-one with patients to help them continue a plant-based lifestyle upon their departure. Dr. Peacock is currently located in Orange County, California, utilizing mobile chiropractic and active release techniques to restore proper movement patterns, decrease pain, and increase mobility. She has an online platform for working with clients around the world for nutrition and lifestyle changes. In this episode, we chat about chiropractic care, of course, common ailments that Dr. Stephanie sees from most of her patients, what her main reason of going plant-based was, her experience at TrueNorth Health Center, which is a health center that I am absolutely fascinated with and have been wanting to go to for so many years, just to be around those people who are healing people with food. We talk about meditation and physical activity, supplements, and entrepreneur life. You are going to love this episode, and I cannot wait for you to hear it. Leave us a review if you love it and tag us in your stories. We will get going now. Here's Dr. Stephanie Peacock. All right, Dr. Stephanie Peacock. Hello, my friend.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited to have you on today's episode and cannot wait to hear all of the goodness that you have to share with this world. We're super excited to hear all of your insight about your story, how you treat people, and how you make them better. And it's going to be awesome. So, all right, here we go. I've just got a plethora of questions, okay? So we're just going to start with you, though. And I want to hear about, first off, why you decided to get into chiropractic care, right? And then also where your health journey started. Like, did that put you on that path? Have you always been like into health? Like where does it all come together?
How does it tie together? Right. So, okay, perfect. So I got into chiropractic care. I'll rewind really quickly. So I was a professional swimmer. I was a collegiate swimmer, professional swimmer. I graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where I swam competitively for all 4 years. And I was an All-American, I won a couple of national championships, US Open championships, and different things like that. So I decided after swimming collegiately, I went to pursue swimming professionally for 2 years before the 2016 Olympic trials. But basically throughout my entire swimming career, I, was obviously there's injuries that you get, like every athlete tends to, have like some injury here or there. And that's where I discovered chiropractic care. There was this one injury that I had that the doctors, they told it was to my rib. And the doctors had thought that I fractured it from swimming too long, putting too much stress on the area. And so they told me I had to be out of the water for like 3 months. And I had this really big international meet coming up in China that summer, and I couldn't not train, And so I just sought out this chiropractor that treated me through muscle work and adjusting. And I said, it was one session, and I said, okay, when can I get back in the water? He goes, tomorrow. And I was like, what? And so that opened my eyes to this whole other side of holistic care that I didn't even know existed, honestly. And so that's kind of where the passion started to, the seed was planted, right? To be able to want to help people one day, like, holistically. And so, yeah, so my swimming career swam up until 2016. I was third at the Olympic trials in the 800 meter freestyle. So I actually missed the Olympic team by one spot, but I was the Olympic alternate. So I got to say that. Yeah. So it was such a cool experience, honestly. And I learned so much from it. And my swimming career, just like, I learned so much from it, like everything, like from dedication to hard work to just wanting to pursue. Like, I knew I wanted to pursue a career that I was super passionate about, because I was so passionate about swimming for 16 years. I was like, okay, I can't just have a desk job. I can't just, I had to figure out what is it that I can do that will really help people, because I want to help people the way that chiropractor helped me. And so that's how I got into chiropractic care. So once I finished at the trials in 2016, I ended up going to chiropractic school in Southern California. So I went there for 3.5 years, but it was in 2017. It was a year into school. That's when I came across some research regarding plant-based nutrition. And so that's when things really changed for me, because I was like, okay, this is amazing, because I'm not only going to be able to help people like physically, right? Like with chiropractic care, but just like decreasing inflammation from the foods that we're eating and the toxins that we're being introduced to on a daily basis in the foods that we eat and the products we use and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a game changer for people. So that's when I started really diving into the research, and, I watched all the documentaries, of course, and listened to so many podcasts and just educated myself. And I was so surprised at the time that more people didn't seem to know about it, and how I was a little bit amazed at how people, once they kind of started to know about it, like a lot of my colleagues, they weren't super open-minded to it. And I was just like, how is that possible? It was like, this is like the key to helping people. And so anyways, when so I was in chiropractic school, and so I had been plant-based for about a year, and that's when I came across TrueNorth Health Center. And I discovered how they're in Northern California. I was in Southern California at the time. And that's when I discovered, there's this whole center that is basically using plant-based. The center of it is plant-based nutrition, right? They're using that as a way to help heal people, but they're essentially fasting people from anywhere from water fasting, anywhere from 5 to 40 days, basically, to help decrease the inflammation that people have been eating in excess, right, through the foods for years and years of their life. And so that's how I got to TrueNorth Health Center once I graduated from school in 2019, and I worked there for a year and a half. And then I moved back down to Southern California a few months ago, actually, to start my holistic practice there. But yeah, so that's sort of my journey into holistic care.
Okay, like gotta admit, I am like jealous that you have not only been to TrueNorth, but you guys have something like that. And I truly believe that this entire country could change significantly if we had a TrueNorth in every state. So
yes,
could you imagine how different this country would, like, for real though? Just one in every state. Yeah. It doesn't matter how large the state is, like just one in every state, like, would make a major impact, because there's nowhere else like that is treating people on the level that they do. And it's just like the most beautiful combination of science and beautiful food, I feel like. And I've never even been there, so I can't really,
Yeah.
But I want you to explain a little bit more about your water fast, because I know that you did that. And we'll go back to like chiropractor after that. So what made you decide? I mean, you're like a healthy, you're a healthy person. Why would you do a water fast? And how did you feel? Did you fall into that like, like all
Zen
alternative world? Like, what was it like for you?
Yeah. So I am healthy. I'm young. I've been plant-based for almost 4 years now. And, but you still are, we all have toxins in our body, right? We're all being exposed to toxins on a daily basis, right? Not just even in like the food that we're eating, right? Even in like beautiful organic produce could still have some herbicides, pesticide exposure in there, right? And then even including all the products that we've used throughout our entire lives. Like I know that you're really big into that too, right? With the environmental toxins. And so and that builds up in our body, right? And so one of the best things about fasting is that it's rapidly mobilizing toxins from our body. And so that's, that was a big reason why I did it, because I was like, well, why not? I'm at this beautiful center. And what's amazing about this center is that they take care of you. You check into the patient room and you're water fasting. You're allowing your body to just fight any inflammation that's in our body, right? We could be the healthiest people alive, right? But even through exercising, right? Exercising is a form of inflammation, right? So our body needs some time to rest. And so the key with water fasting, what's so amazing about it is that 80% of our body's energy goes towards digesting food. So when you take away that food and our body focusing so much energy towards that, our body can use that energy to heal so many things. And yeah, I didn't necessarily have anything that at least I was aware of that I needed healing, but I wanted to be able to do a fast that would just allow me to reset. And that was what I loved about it. And yes, I reached about like the third day. So I did 5 days actually. My goal was to do 10 days and I was starting to lose a little too much weight. So I was like, okay, I'll just do 5 days. But 5 days was still beautiful because at about 3 to 4 days is when you reach that autophagy state where your body's regenerating new stem cells, right? And so that's kind of the key. You want to at least get to like 4 to 5 days just to basically really set in that autophagy. So that was pretty much my goal, was just to kind of do a beautiful like 5-day water fast and just kind of just get those toxins out and everything like that. But about day 3, I reached this like amazing Zen state that I've only reached maybe a few times meditating, but it was constant. I was just sitting there, I was sitting outside in nature constantly. And I just was looking at the trees and I just felt like so one with like the world. It was like amazing. Yeah, it was incredible. So, and it was really amazing. I could just feel like the toxins like leaving my body, because everyone responds differently to fasting, right? Some people are beautiful fasters and they'll do a 40-day water fast and like the entire time they have no issues. Like they don't get weak, they don't get hungry, no nausea, nothing. It's amazing. And then someone like me, like day 3, I started to get like all these aches and like cramping and like some low back pain and different things like that. But a lot of times that's just signaling to my body that, yeah, there are some toxins that are being released. So I was accepting of it. But yeah, the fast was absolutely amazing.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible. Woohoo! I am like, I'm so proud of you that you did 5 days of water fasting. That's like incredible. And it's just like a whole mindset shift, not even the actual act. I think it's probably like just making that decision that you're going to. You're like prepping. You're like, I'm prepping for a water fast. I'm prepping for a water fast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to do it. Like, here we go.
Here we go.
Awesome. Thank you. I bet it was super like euphoric and just super interesting to go through all of the stages, like even though they are probably not so pleasant at times, that's for sure. And like you said, it just for everybody, it depends. And I think that every human body has a different like amount of body burden that they can handle too. And I was chatting with a friend just about that. Like, I think we all have different thresholds and what we can do. Like, I don't feel like mine is very high, which is why I feel like I manifest sickness super easily from just all the things, and it stinks, but it's just like, we all have a different threshold for that. So I think, it only makes sense that if you were to do something like that, it would be very different for each person. But
it is. And
way to go if the listeners are listening and you're anywhere near True North in California, you should look it up, because I'm sure it's amazing.
And that's the thing too. I love that what you said there about every body having a different threshold, because that's so true. Because we would see, we see patients all the time that come in with this goal, right? So essentially what happens is they get screened for whatever, condition they have, or maybe they're just coming to what I just did, to detox, right? But a lot of times they're coming for some sort of chronic inflammatory condition that they have built up through, dietary excess and different things like that. So, and they have this goal. They have a goal of how many days they want to do. And, let's say it's 3 weeks or something, but sometimes they get to 10 days and their body is telling them, like, I'm done. And, we try to drive home the point that, every person's different. And you had this goal, but if your body's telling you you're done, then you're done. Your body has reached the point of what it needed to, right? Of the healing that it needed. And so even though they want, they get so upset because they're like, oh, I really wanted to do like 3 weeks. It's like, well, 3 weeks is amazing, but your body didn't want you to do that. And your body was telling you you're good and you're healed. So, so we always try to drive home that point, because sometimes people get super upset and it's like, no, because I wanted to do 10 days. And I was like, my body was like 5 days and done. So I was like, all right, I'm good.
That's fascinating. It's fascinating. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's see. Let's go back to chiropractic care stuff.
Sure.
Who do you think needs chiropractic care the most? If you had to choose, a group of people, like, what do you, and I guess this kind of goes with another question that I was going to ask. And it is, what's the most common ailment that you see with your patients / clients? Like, what are they manifesting the most? I guess that would go best with like, who needs chiropractic care?
Yeah. So a lot of times I feel like every person could use chiropractic care, right? Because it's just such a great holistic approach, right? And of course, that's an answer that a chiropractor is going to say. Just resetting the nervous system and getting the adjustments and everything like that. But I would say more so middle-aged people. I feel kind of in their 40s and 50s after, a lot of people have desk jobs, right? This is where I'm going to tie this into, is like a lot of times what I see. So a lot of people are sitting for like 8 to 10 hours a day. And what happens is that you're doing that for so many years. And so usually by the time you reach middle age, that's where I start to see a lot of issues. And so a lot of the issues that I actually see are like chronic conditions, like in their mid back and in the neck, because of how long they're sitting for. And so what's usually occurring with that is, so when you're sitting for long periods of time, you're actually destabilizing those spinal stabilizing muscles. So you have these little intrinsic muscles of the spine that are basically run all the way from the cervical spine down into the sacrum. And so when you sit for long periods of time, you decondition those muscles. And so all these other muscles start to take over, like your upper trap and then your mid trap and like your levator scapula, and all these different muscles will take over for the job of trying to stabilize your spine. When that's occurring, you actually start to develop a lot of neck pain. And so because your mid back isn't supporting your cervical spine anymore. So a lot of times that's what I'm seeing. And so you develop a lot of these scar tissues that are basically fibers that are laying down on the opposite direction of muscle fibers. And that can basically restrict range of motion, and it causes pain. And essentially it's not allowing oxygen and nutrients to flow back into the muscles. So you're starting to really feel a lot of this chronic pain in that area. And so I actually do a specific technique called active release technique, where I essentially work a lot on the muscles. That's what I believe really helps. Like that tying in with adjustments really seems to help. And it's just basically breaking up the scar tissue to allow the muscles to thrive, to be able to move again, have range of motion, decrease pain. And a lot of times too, I mean, there's so many nerves, right, that are exiting your spine. And so those nerves can actually get entrapped in those muscles if they're really tight from the scar tissue buildup. And so you can get a lot of nerve pain too. And sometimes a lot of times it's actually not coming from the spinal, like it's not a spinal injury. It's a lot of times just coming from compression onto the nerve from a muscle. So if you just kind of clear that up, that usually that really helps. So I'd say that's probably a lot of the issues that I see.
Yeah. In care. Wow. That makes so much sense. Gosh, do you use like tools to help break up the muscle? Like,
No,
or you
so
just do manual?
I actually do it manual. So there is a technique you can use. It's called Graston technique, and it's like
Yeah,
it'll look like a metal tool that you can scrape, right?
Horrible. Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah. And so that's a really great technique. I do love that technique. The only thing about that technique that I don't think works all the time is because it's super global. So you're essentially just kind of like rubbing all over. Whereas the technique that I do, I'm using my hands to basically isolate the exact nerve, muscle, structure, whatever it is you want to call it, the tendon, ligament, to release the tension, right? So what I'm essentially doing is I'm laying my fingers or my thumb into the specific area that I need to allow to release. And I'm stretching that structure in the way that isolates it from every other structure surrounding it to efficiently break up the scar tissue is what I'm doing. So I think both techniques are really, really great. And I think they both have their place. But I love active release technique. That's what helped me like through my career. I saw 2 different chiropractors that used that technique with me. And I just saw great results. So that's what I wanted to pursue.
Awesome. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey friend, before we get too far into this episode, I want to be sure you know about how the environment plays a role on your overall health. For over a decade, I've been learning so much about the lack of health regulation in the personal care and food industries, and that's actually one of the reasons why I started this show. You deserve to know how to protect you and your family from unwanted body burden, and I share further information about how to make better choices and vote with your dollar in our private Facebook community called The Urban Pharmacy. On that note, I want to let you know about one of the easiest ways that we've switched to safer, and that's through my favorite clean beauty brand called Beauty Counter. Your skin is your largest organ, and what you put on it every day matters a lot. And with a low carbon footprint, cruelty-free formulations, and high-performing results, I haven't found a better beauty brand than Beauty Counter in over 5 years of working with this mission-driven brand. To learn more and shop clean, head to mybetterbeauty.com.
So, okay, what was your main reason for going plant-based?
It was for health reasons, right? So once I found out that saturated fat and cholesterol were a big part of the reasons why we're seeing such an increase in cardiovascular disease and diabetes and so many other conditions, like even some forms of cancer and different things like that, even autoimmune conditions, right? Once I found that out, and it wasn't just carbohydrates that we're all led to believe, right? I was shocked. And that's and finding out that a lot of that stuff is basically found in animal products, in your dairy, your meats, all these different foods, right? And so I was just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So that's when after I spent like maybe 2 days researching everything. And after that, I just got this huge box and I threw out everything that I just went cold turkey. I was like, I don't even see a point in even like trying to wean off of it or anything. I just wanted to get rid of it and get it out of the house. And so that was probably my biggest reason, was seeing how, we can just like our longevity can be increased just by eating this way, and we can live longer and we can live healthier living longer, right? And I want to be able to get older and still be able to go surfing every day, right?
Sure.
I don't want to have all these chronic aches and pains and everything. And I thought about my family and my husband, and and so I was like, this is like such a game changer for health. And so that was a big reason. And then the environmental stuff and then the animal cruelty things really tied in after that. But initially it was for health reasons.
Yeah. I mean, we all want to live long, but are we going to live well? Right? That's the question that
Exactly.
we have to ask ourselves. And it's like, it's the prevention is where it's at. And we just have to be super mindful. We have one body temple. So
exactly.
we got to treat it as such. That is for sure.
Exactly.
We are not like,
I know.
It's just like, you have to have that like turning point at some point. Like for me, it's been like multiple things, but there is like a time where you'll just make that connection. It's like that deep connection, like, oh, wow. Like this world is pretty weird and like messed up in terms of like marketing illness to us without us even realizing it on a daily basis. It's just like it's just like
I know.
illness, feeding illness is like normal, but it's not like, it's just bad.
Exactly.
It's really bad.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I 100% agree with that. And that's what, when I was also finding out all of the stuff about the marketing and how, all these things are being marketed to us as healthy, will increase your bone density, super good for you, and all these things. And then once you find out all these things, actually all these animal products, they're just not good for you. Like, there's no reason to have them in your lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I just want to be able to help people with that too. I want to be able to teach people how to go plant-based. Exactly. And the same thing with athletes too. Like, I was an athlete and I wasn't plant-based when I was a swimmer. And, it could have been the game changer for me, right? I was third at the Olympic trials. Who knows? Maybe that would have upped it. I don't know. And I'll never know. I don't have the regret, but I'm like, I think about these things all the time. And I actually, I remember back in my last couple of years of swimming, as I started getting a little older, I was around 22 to 24 years old. I wasn't recovering as quickly as I had when I was like 18. And I was always wondering, like, why am I not recovering? Why do I feel so sore in between practices constantly? I was so tired all the time. And I was recovering with whey protein shakes and chocolate milk and, eating eggs for breakfast to get my protein in, and I had cheese on everything. And so, there's all these things I think back on, and I probably had an animal product at every one of my meals, all my snacks, everything. So, that's another big thing for me too. And then when the Game Changers movie came out, that was really great, because then I feel like that really helped open up a lot of people's eyes, just not just for the health reasons, because health is such a big part, but how can it help like athletically too, right?
Totally.
So, yeah.
Totally. And like, not just athletically stuff. This is like actually something that I'm pivoting with my brand, like at the moment as we speak. I love teaching women about transitioning to plant-based. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I've been, we both have been doing it for several years. Like, find joy in being able to share something that has become so natural for you. Right. And it's just like part of your life. But not only that, and not only mindset, and not only low tox living, but what about if we implemented all of these like healthy living things, which I'm going to ask you about here in a minute, about what else you practice. But like, what if we implemented all of these lifestyle shifts as entrepreneurs? Like, how much, not only could this help our athletic capability if we were to do this plant-based thing, but like in terms of our brain health and like being sharp and on point and like manifesting the life we want, like, it's like, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. And like, if we clear our brain, like get that gut brain connection, like on key. And I've been talking just the last few days, like for you, like with swimming, like you were operating at a really high level with what you and I would call now low level foods. Right.
Right.
But like, so I can imagine you thinking like, what if I were, doing those high level activities with high level foods? Like, what would the outcome have been? Right. Would I've been thinking differently? Would my body have been moving differently? Likely. Right. Likely.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
That kind of brings me to the next question. Like, do you practice other forms of lifestyle wellness? Like, what are the things that there might be like a long list, or there might be like some, I don't know, like, there might be like 5 top things that you do, like, but like acupuncture, acupressure, red light therapy, infrared therapy. Are you doing cold showers? Are you, are there supplements that you like swear by, which actually was going to be a separate question, but like, are you, honoring the circadian rhythm? Like, are you obsessed with sleep? Like, what are you doing to like optimize your performance as an entrepreneur, which I know you are. So like, I guess let's just kind of go into that. Like, what do you do as an entrepreneur or just as a person in general to elevate your existence?
Oh my gosh. I actually love this question. This is great. So so there's actually quite a few things I do. I'll try to keep it short, but one of the things that I love doing is I love grounding. So I'm a big believer in grounding, right? Because there's even research on it. It's amazing. So just bare feet on the earth's surface, go stand on your lawn, go stand, on the beach, somewhere where you can just be in contact with the earth, right? And absorbing those free electrons from the earth just to help balance out your body again, right? And just to allow, it's free medicine is what it is. And so I love that. I love meditating because meditating is another thing that I love doing every single day. I try to do at least 30 minutes a day. If I have more time, I try to do like 45 to an hour. But yeah, I try to do that every single day because
before you go on, what does meditation
sure.
look like? What does meditation look like for you, Steph? Like,
yeah,
because let me tell you, sometimes my meditation is curling my hair. So I want to know, like, what is it look like for you? Like, and I think
I definitely have
so many different ways.
Such a great question, because it's true. Everyone has a different form of meditation, right? So I try to practice it in the form of just sitting in a really, really quiet place where I'm really relaxed, where I'm really comfortable. And all I'm doing is just breathing. I'm just breathing. I'm trying to clear my mind, try to clear my mind of any thoughts, let the ego go, and just be is what I personally try to practice. But other forms of meditation too are exercising. I love exercising. I exercise probably 5 to 6 days a week. Like, I love surfing. Surfing's a great form of meditation for me because I love being in the water. Of course, I'm a swimmer, so I love being in the water. So that's another great form of meditation too. And I think like that's such a great point you brought up too, because there are so many forms of meditation, right? You could also do guided meditation as well. Exercising, such a great form of meditation. But what I love about it is because it's allowing you to just be in this place where you are happy, where you're truly, truly happy. And we can't be physically healthy if we're not emotionally healthy, right? So I think just giving yourself that 30 to 45 minutes a day of just being with yourself and doing something that you truly love to do, I think is super important. So that's something that I try to do, because I've noticed that once I started implementing that practice into my lifestyle, that's helped me tremendously help other people. Like, so that's what I love about meditation. So yeah, so I definitely practice those forms.
Awesome. Okay, so what else do? You do grounding, you do meditation. What are your other modalities?
Yeah, I have an infrared sauna. So I use my infrared sauna at least 4 times a week. I try to do 5 times a week if I can, but I have an infrared sauna. I absolutely love it. It's basically stimulating our body on a deep cellular level and the mitochondrial level, right? And just basically, which is the powerhouse of our cells, and giving us so much energy, so much healing on a cellular level. So I love doing that. It's essentially, you're getting a lot of benefits with infrared sauna that you would get with fasting. So that's what I love about infrared sauna. So I try to do that daily. And I actually practice intermittent fasting too. I love fasting, and I think it's really important to give ourselves like a window of fasting. So I do about 14 hours. 14 to 16 hours is usually sort of the fasting that I will do. And another thing that I do too off of fasting is I'm essentially I did my first 5-day water fast this past year, but I think it's really important to give ourselves at least like 3 to 5 days of like just water fasting, like every year. So I will be implementing that next year. I'll essentially try to do another one, probably go to TrueNorth Health Center again and just have a beautiful 5-day fast if I can make it. So yeah, I'd say that's another thing that I definitely implement. Exercising, like I mentioned, that's another form of my meditation, but I just try to do some sort of movement every single day, right? So that's definitely something else I implement.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, let me think here. Any other body techniques? Have you done cold showers?
Yes, I have done them. I have a really hard time doing them. I know they're not easy, obviously. That's why most people don't do them, right? But I am a firm believer in cold showers, and I think it's absolutely amazing, and it's stimulating your vagus nerve, everything. I love it. Like, I am all about it. I try to do it. I'm really bad at sticking with it. Do you do them?
No, I mean, it's like literal torture to me, but like I
like
want to get to that
torture,
level
right?
so badly.
Yeah.
I want to be at that level because I just know it's so good, and it's also really energizing. Like, I'm sure that I would have more energy if I just did this cold shower thing, and I would have better hair, and I would have better skin. It's like, it's good for all the things, but maybe one day.
Maybe one day we'll work up there.
I've yet to even consider a cold plunge, so that's a whole other
gosh
thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So supplements, are there specific supplement stuff that you take on a normal basis, or that you think, I mean, maybe you can dive into like the super like surface level ones that you think everybody should be taking, and then maybe there are a few other ones that you think are beneficial.
Yeah, so I'll start with saying that I think we can get the majority of what we need through our diet. And T. Colin Campbell, this is something that I love to quote from him, is that he says, when you take everything, works together in a vegetable, like an orange for vitamin C, for let's bring that as an example, right? So you could take a vitamin C supplement, right? But the vitamin C is in its best form absorbed when it's with that fiber, when it's with all the other nutrients that it's working with in our body, right? And so I'm such a firm believer in the whole food and nothing but the whole food. If that is if that's working for you, right? Because some people, for example, like vitamin D, maybe living more. I know you live in Indiana. I live in California, so I get a good amount of vitamin D, right? So if your vitamin D levels are low, yeah, you definitely need to go on a vitamin D supplement. If you're not getting enough omega-3s, yeah, an algae supplement I think is absolutely great to take. I don't think there's any harm in that. B12, obviously, I think everyone should be taking a B12 supplement just because our soil is so depleted right now. And that's basically where all our B12 is coming from, right? So I take a B12 supplement. That's the only supplement that I personally take. And then, there's definitely, everyone's going to be a little bit different, right? Everyone might have a special case. Maybe there is something they're a little bit more deficient in, like magnesium. Maybe they do need a magnesium supplement. But I always think it's great to try to start to see if you can get it from the foods first. I always say that. That's my personal belief. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. All right. So what lifestyle change do you think is the most important for your patients in terms of bettering their health? Like just one, if you could choose one lifestyle change.
I would definitely say it's the food. I think
isn't it Dr. Clapper that says that?
That's his famous quote. Yeah, actually at TrueNorth, there's in one of the doctor's offices there, I think it's in Dr. Soler's office. There's like a framed frame of like this picture, and it says it's the food. It's just there in the wall. Yeah.
But we need to make t-shirts with his name underneath that.
We totally should. Yeah. So I think it's the food. I just because even with myself, just because I've been doing this for 4 years, I noticed that when I switched over to being plant-based, I felt like I was calmer. I felt I had more energy, more vitality. I felt like I recovered so much quicker in between my workouts when I was plant-based. I mean, there's just so many things that I feel I benefited from going plant-based, and I see it all the time in my clients, right? And then in my family members, or a friend, when I get them to switch over, everyone, I've heard nothing but good things when people are switching over. It's in the research. There's so many benefits of being plant-based. So I try to stick with that first. I think that is the best thing that people can try to implement into their lifestyle. Yeah,
I love it. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna shift gears here, Steph. No more health stuff. Let's talk a little bit about being an entrepreneur. What do you find the most rewarding thing about being an entrepreneur?
The most rewarding thing I think is I love getting to know someone's story and being that person that a lot of times I feel like they've never had someone that you just, even a friend, just really listen to them and see how, what is it they're going through? What are they feeling? Why don't they feel great? Why do they feel off? And what's going on in their life? And a lot of times, like we mentioned before, we talked about health stuff, it's a lot of times it's not just the diet, right? Sometimes there's emotional things that they're dealing with, right? That's preventing them from being physically healthy too. And I feel like I'm able to be this outlet for them to hear them out and just listen, and then help them through diet, through lifestyle changes, trying to get back into that modality where their vitality is being expressed again. And so I think that's super rewarding, is just being that person for them that maybe they've never had that person before, because I've seen, growing up, I've seen plenty of doctors. I've seen so many people before, and I felt like so many people never listened to me. If I ever had a complaint, they were it was a 5-minute visit. Right. And so I spend a good amount of time with my clients. I try to spend an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, just listening, hearing what's going on with them. So, and then when they do get better, it's so rewarding seeing that, because, there was someone that was able to be there and listen for them. So.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love that. We need so much more of that. And that's really a gift, Steph, to be able to listen to people. I just will say, I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with. I personally struggle with that. So I love that you find joy in being an amazing listener. Like that, that is super valuable, because I think us as humans, especially in such a fast-paced world, like that is something that is missing for sure. And people are just not heard enough. And like, if you can truly take the time to listen, you can really help them, I think, on a much higher level. You can actually truly understand the big picture and what they're struggling with on a different level. So that's super awesome. Okay, so for fun, I want to know, what is your least favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's like, it's so fun when you first start trying, when you're like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to do my own business. It's like all exciting at first. And then when you get down into like the nitty gritty of it, it's like, whoa, there's a lot of things that you don't think about. And oh my gosh, there's so many things. I think I have to say, I feel like the marketing, like, trying to get myself out there because I love Instagram, I love posting stuff, but how do I show people that like I could really help them? I'm not just another health coach or something, right? Like, how do I make myself different than to the eye of that person that's looking at my page, different than the other person they were looking at, right? And so that's something I think that I'm starting to really hone in on that, but it's hard. It's hard trying to figure out like, okay, how do I explain to this person in like 3 sentences or less, right? Because our attention span is like 5 seconds or something when you're looking at something. So it's like, how do I show this person in 5 seconds or less that I could be the person for them, right? So I think that's been the hardest part for me, is marketing that. Yeah. And so, because I feel like once I get someone in, once I have them as my client, I feel like I can help them so much. But it's how do I get that person to that part?
Totally. That is something that I seriously connect with, and I understand on a deep level. And it's interesting. It's funny. I feel like I'm kind of a broken record, but shout out to my brand coach, Steph Weber. She helped me with this. It has, I think, that's awesome. And I just created something new. Like, I think it has to do with finding what you've struggled with in your life. And like, because a lot of the times when we've struggled from something, we've become the master at it. And so I kind of had this like epiphany when I was out at a retreat for like with the gals that are that hired stuff last year. And I had an epiphany. I'm like, I struggled through being a business owner. Like, I struggled through being a Pilates studio owner, but I've been living this like more, healthful lifestyle, which has also been a struggle because I've had to learn like everything from scratch, because there's just, and educate myself over a decade. And it's like, I had a complete shift. And like, so the people that I help are not just people that want to live that way, but entrepreneurs. And I know how to help entrepreneurs because I've been one for, you've been that, I've struggled through it. And it's like, I never thought that I would be talking to such a specific group of people. Like, no, I want to help everyone. Yeah. I want to help everyone, be low tox, be plant-based, have a good mindset. No, actually, I don't want to help everyone, because I will never have enough energy to help everyone. Like, there's no way to perform. So I got to get real specific. So like, just for fun, like an idea would be like, maybe for you, you're like helping athletes that want to like kick ass and like, crush the game, because all of these ways to, even on the mitochondrial level, get better, right? Like, so
and see, that's actually where that's where a lot of, literally, it's funny that you mentioned that, because in the last few weeks, that's where I was like, I think that's my niche. I think that's it. Like, I'm going to work with athletes. And then if I get these people that come in that, just for other goals, great, 'cause I would love to help anyone. Right. But, you can't just say I can do all these different things, because they're going to be like, well, what do you focus on? So, I think because that's something that I'm really passionate about, right, is athletics. I was an athlete for so long, and I still am. I love exercising. And how do I get you feeling your best as an athlete, right? How do I get you to perform at your highest level? So I
love it. It's great. So good. I think finding your avatar as an entrepreneur is like I think it's the hardest thing. And
yes, it is. Yeah.
us as humans, like we are like, well, we've made a decision. This is the type of person that I'm going to be talking to. And this is my avatar. And this is who I'm going to market to. And like, we think that since we make that decision that we can't make a change. And that's not true. Like like once we make that decision and we start walking, like just walking toward that goal, it's like those people that are supposed to be in our life come in our life and we're like, oh gosh, now I see where I should be going. Because like the people who are actually the most receptive are the people that really need your help, and it just, I think it's a journey for sure.
It is.
I love,
big time.
Sharing that struggle with you, like 100%. I am right there with you. So, but it's just really cool. The more that we practice, just like anything, the better we're going to get at it. And the better we will find those ideal people.
Absolutely.
The energy. That energy.
Yeah, the energy.
Yes.
Law of attraction.
It's all about it.
Yeah.
All it is.
I'm all about it. Yeah.
So Steph, how can you help people? How can we find you? Like, who are you there for? We now know a little bit more, but like, where can we find you so that people, if they want to work with you, like, how can they?
Yeah. So I have a website. It's peacockchiropractic.com. So because I do two different services. So I'm in Southern California based. So I actually do mobile chiropractic too. So I love it because I've never been good at just sitting in one place all day. So I love being able to move and show up to someone's home to be able to treat them. So peacockchiropractic.com, they can find me there. And so they could either, if they're in Southern California, they want chiropractic treatment, there's an option there to click and they can fill out a form and book a session with me. And then the same thing for the health coaching, right? So I have health coaching on there. I provide meal plans and do different things like that. So and they can also book on there as well. Peacockchiropractic.com.
Awesome. So we will get those links. We'll put them in the show notes. And then you guys are going to like love Steph's page. Like she crushes it with like the food. You guys are going to freaking be like, what?
Oh, thank you.
There's so much info on her page. So if you are plant-based curious or vegan curious and you have not come over to the green side yet, you need to go to Steph's page and you need to look at all the food because you're going to be like, dude, I can do this. Like, I can totally eat that food, right? You're going to be really inspired. So,
thank you.
She can help you get there for sure. Okay. So Steph, last thing is, what does living a holistic life mean to you? This is something I ask everybody and I can't wait to hear what you say.
Oh, well, I love this question. All right. I think for me, it's allowed me to connect on a deep, sort of on more of a like, right. So, okay, let me rewind. So, how earlier you were mentioning with the performing I was performing at a high level, but I was eating lower vibrational foods, essentially, right? Lower energy foods. I think that being more holistic and being able to eat these high vibrational foods has allowed me to basically have this frequency that I've been able to emit. I feel like I've been able to connect with people on such a deeper level. I feel like I have these deeper connections with even my husband, with my friends and like my family. I feel like I just understand people more. And I feel like throughout all that, I feel like I have become a better listener. I've been able to just really connect with humans so much better ever since being plant-based and being holistic and just focusing on me and having me time every day and different things like that. So I think that's probably my favorite part is the connections that I've actually gained from this and just like, not even just the friends, but how I'm connecting with people on that level. So,
oh my gosh, that's so awesome. You definitely can feel like your vibration. It's a good one. It's like,
thank you.
Calm, cool. It's like calm, cool, and collected. And you like, I don't know, you're like in your purpose. You're just doing the thing. And it's awesome. You. It's freaking awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh,
yeah, you're welcome, friend. Okay, so this was awesome. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much, Steph. We are going to get this episode out soon. You guys are all going to love it.
Awesome.
Loved it as listeners. So, all right, we will see you soon, my friend. Take care.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of The Urban Pharmacy. For today's show notes, head on over to theurbanpharmacy.com and be sure to join us inside our private Facebook group called The Urban Pharmacy, where we share inspiration, live trainings, and holistic living tips to help you build community and the healthy lifestyle that you've always wanted. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Before we connect again on the next show, follow me on Instagram at The Urban Pharmacy. That's urban with an H and pharmacy with an F. And I can't wait to hear your wellness journey as we get to know each other better. You know, there's truly no better time than now to level up your life, and I am so proud of you for showing up today. Until next time, be well, Health Crusader.